Yeah, this is the part you've been waiting for. The funds are transferred and the title's exchanged. But before that happens, right, the buyer actually has to finish their qualification process. We were talking about that earlier. They will probably have one final underwriting that they have to go through. That requires them to still have a job, right? And everything was the same as when they started the process. They didn't go out and buy something big or anything changed on their credit. So that is done. Underwriting then clears the file. It's called clear to close. And then that is the final step on the lending process. Then what happens is title requests the fees from the lender, okay? Meaning lender fees, essentially, like how much they charge, like a point. They might charge a point to just do the loan. And then also any fees that are associated with giving the loan. Those fees are collected from the lender. And then they also will collect the final fees from the HOA and any other sources that are out there that may need to be paid off. Sometimes I've even seen people pay off cars, sellers pay off cars. They may collect that information from the title of the car. So you guys have to remember why we use title is so that they are clearing everything, making sure the job is done and there's nothing left to do for the seller at the end of this. Now, when they receive all that information, they now bring you what's called a settlement statement. And that's going to have the seller side and the buyer side, all of the fees that are associated with the purchase of this home. There will be debits and credits on each side. So whatever we negotiated in the contract, that will show up on this document. Now, here's the thing. Not just the lender's looking at that, not just the title company, but we're looking at us. We're looking at that settlement statement to make sure there was nothing missed before it even gets to you. Because at the end of the day, you're going to want to look at it and make sure everything lines up, including what the lender has told the buyer. The buyer is going to look at that too and make sure that their interest rate, all that stuff is correct, okay? So once that is done, now the title company prepares the documents for both sides, right? And there'll be a seller packet and there'll be a buyer packet. They will need to have notarized and signed. Now here on our team, when you use our title company, they will send a notary to wherever you're at. You can be in another state. You could be in another country and get signed, believe it or not. That's why we have a preferred partner with our title company, because they're a great resource to make sure that you can be wherever you're at when you sign. Once you sign off on those documents, they're then sent back to the title company and to the lender. And if they're correct, which I've seen them not be correct before, so that's why title's so important. If they're correct, then everybody is happy. And then the lender will now fund the loan. So they'll bring in the $500,000 that they had promised the buyer that they would loan them. The buyer will bring in their down payment and any additional funds for their closing costs, okay? And that's all sitting at the title company. And the day that we close escrow, it's all dispersed to the proper places, including your bank account, or it could be going towards your next house, right? So those funds are wired out to the agents, to the seller and the HOA, and anything that needs to be paid. All the bills are paid, and then we close escrow and record. Now, recording is just really taking the seller and now transferring it into the buyer's name. The house is now transferred, and that's done through the county. Once that's done, you're done. And that is the closing process.